Make sure that one's recording. Make sure this is close enough. And we're in. Well, good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, the Friday before Thanksgiving, and we're actually here going to be discussing some ins and outs about what to look for when hiring an agent. We're going to be specific to buyers today, guys, so this is going to be catered around hiring your buyer's agent. So, of course, we have Bo Smith here, the one and only. Real quick, you got big plans for Thanksgiving?
Well, nothing crazy, but we do have some family coming over. Going over to my parents' house and just enjoying that family time. Just kind of similar to what we did last year, but can't complain about it. It's good to
very
get around
cool.
the family and everything.
Very cool. Yeah, we're going to do kind of a Friendsgiving on Wednesday and then have some leftovers on Thursday, kind of have a low-key. My daughter's birthday is actually Thursday, so...
on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? Kind of crazy.
Better be more food, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, at least presents for the daughter, so... But anyway, guys, we hope you definitely have a very enjoyable Thanksgiving. You'll probably be hearing this next week after we do the editing and everything. But today we're going to be talking about the 5 characteristics that you're going to want to look for specifically when hiring a buyer's agent. So we are in a shifting market now, and things are starting to slow down where you can be a lot more intentional with who you work with, what type of properties you're looking at, and how you buy a home from a buyer's side. So you still want to be very intentional about your agent, because who you work with is going to impact very much the deal you get, the type of homes you're looking at, your exposure to different lending options. So we're going to hit on those today and give you some tips and tricks on who to look for and, basically just go over the process of what questions to ask and, get into all that.
Yep, you're 100% right. And it kind of wraps into how last year was, right? Whenever things were kind of crazy, and now, like you said, that we're in a shift. So with this experience factor, it comes to, what agent is going to benefit you in the best possible way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Are they going to be on your side trying to get you the best deal, saving you the most money, get you a lower monthly payment, or are they just trying to be out there to, make their next check? Are they just trying to get you to the closing?
Commission breath,
exactly. Yeah.
So Bo hits on the first one we're going to go over is always ask that agent's experience, right? So number one, find out what their experience is. And first and foremost, it's going to be the expertise in the market, right? Mm-hmm. So knowing the inventory, knowing the different neighborhoods, knowing what's available, who the builders are, so on and so forth. And you actually had that experience with a recent sale with a brand new subdivision, but the buyer actually ended up going with an existing built home, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, to wrap that in, it's crazy that, and explain, can you...
Explain a little bit more on that one?
Yeah.
So I actually just bought one, a rental property.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Over in the Woodlands, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there's a subdivision that they were offering massive incentives from the builder's perspective. I think they weren't as aggressive at that time when this particular buyer closed, but you knew that neighborhood over in Pace, and Bo was able to negotiate a great deal and get some great incentives for that particular buyer because of knowing the inventory and because of knowing what the pricing was for that neighborhood. So,
yeah. And I actually had toured that area a couple times in the past, and on and off with those reps out there providing us those great incentives towards the buyers, and then providing that to our prospective buyers that we are working with. Now, those incentives were massive; they were huge, and typically you don't see it in the market, especially when we were back 6 months. So coming into here with the increase in interest rates, using what they were offering, what the buyer was looking for, we fit it up right. And if they were looking at a newer home compared to an older built home, but they were leaning in the direction of, it's in a subdivision, it all has similar characteristics.
Yeah.
What works best for them? Is it, saving that money on a monthly basis? Is it saving at the closing table? Or is it, getting to...
understanding their needs.
Exactly, right? So we were able to kind of let them know what these deals would bring, getting them those savings, getting them those lower interest rate going into that neighborhood.
Excellent. So again, guys, first and foremost, experience of that agent. So you're going to want to ask them, what is your market expertise and how many deals are you closing in this particular area? So a lot of agents nowadays are starting to branch out and create what we call expansion teams. And while you can work effectively in a broad market, say 4, 5, 6 counties, or even like, an entire state, it is very good to have an agent that kind of has a niche with a specific city, town, or in some cases the neighborhood. Now, the other aspect of the experience is going to be the time in the business, right? Mm-hmm. So how long have they been in business and how many, deals are they closing per year? So that's kind of a, you got to have to dissect that a little bit when you're actually talking to these agents, because, someone like Bo, how long have you been in the business?
It's been just over about 2 years now.
About 2 years,
and
right?
That comes into the question, your experience is what?
About 15 years.
About 15 years.
Yeah.
I'm over just about 2 years. So that comes to the question, why would they choose me over you?
Yeah, that's a great one. So obviously Bo's part of a team, so he does get the benefit of, having the, eagerness and the ability to go out there and do business, but also have my backup of, the long-term expertise of knowing all the ins and outs of the contracts and all the nuances of the real estate transaction. But that he's making a good point where even if somebody has a ton of time in the market, so 15 years, for example, if I did one deal a year, I've closed less deals in that 15 years than Bo closes in 1 year, right? Mm-hmm. So you also want to know how many deals these buyer's agents are closing. So ask them, hey, how long have you been in business? How many deals do you close per year? How many deals specifically do you sell in and around, the area that I'm looking for? And that's where you can get a deep dive into their true expertise and know if they're going to be the best fit for you with your home search, right?
100%. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that kind of wraps into the team aspect. What goes from having that expertise of 15 years and that 2 years, and then having that combination. And like you said, you're kind of that behind the scenes at times where I'm out there eager, 100%. I'm hungry.
You're right.
Wanting to learn, wanting to help those out there, those buyers that, especially those that are coming from out of state, not knowing what's going on in the area. Mm-hmm. And as I'm learning, and spreading my wisdom, spreading my knowledge out and my expertise in those areas. I think it's huge opportunities to grow and having, kind of, you see where I'm going with it, Phil?
Yeah, the inner working relationship. Yeah. So basically the buyer is getting, or you as the buyer, if you're out there looking for this, you're getting the best of both worlds. You are getting that, super eager, super hungry, kind of newbie agent, if you want to call it that. Bo is obviously not a newbie, but, typically when you get into a business, you're excited, enthusiastic, you have a ton of energy, and the, stereotype is that as you get tenured, you kind of get bored, you start resting on your laurels, but you do have the experience. So you kind of get the best of both worlds when you have somebody working on a team, which is the next aspect that you may want to look into. Ask them if they do have a team dynamic. And what that's going to do for you is, from a buyer's perspective, it's going to give you a wealth of knowledge because that individual agent does have that team that they can pull from. So Bo can pull from my expertise. Bo has a back office support system, so they can handle, transaction coordination. For me, they handle listing appointments and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But ask them if they're on a team or part of a team, because that's going to give you more resources that you have at your disposal as a buyer than just what that one agent has, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And how have you seen that benefit some of your buyers before? Say for example, closing gifts or coordination of some of the paperwork stuff.
I mean, it makes everything way easier.
Right.
We're all human. Things slip our mind. Things we lose track of things. So sometimes we might forget whether did we send off that closing gift? Did we get them to sign the certain paper? Well, having that team aspect provides that, making sure that we are doing what we need to do.
Yeah. All the T's are crossed, I's are dotted, nothing slips.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, Bo's mentioning, basically he can focus from a buyer's agent perspective. His 3 items are prospecting, showings, and contract. Well, that's actually 4. It's prospecting, showings, which would be appointments, and then, contract negotiation and getting deals under contract for you. So if you're on a team, from Bo's perspective, he can do a ton of showings. He can do a ton of stuff because he's not having to sit there, worrying about is his paperwork in order, because we have a administrative staff to handle that. Mm-hmm. He's not having to worry about, did we get, inspections scheduled? Although he will follow up and be there for you with the inspections, don't get it wrong. But because he's part of a team and because we have a team, he has much more value to add in his time, right?
Oh yeah, and that comes to the next process, which is the availability.
Yeah.
When you are looking for that agent, when you want to make sure that you are going to be with the right agent, will they have the availability to take care of you when you need their help?
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to be available at 11 o'clock in the morning, and not everyone's going to be available till 6 p.m. at night.
Right.
Will your agent be open to show homes after 6 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon?
Right.
And Wednesday evening, my bad.
Yeah.
That's I think is very important. And someone like myself, having that team aspect, having that team structure to where it's taking that paperwork, taking those other ends where I have to focus my priorities, I have that availability to go out there and make sure that I am handling our buyers in the best possible way, where it's not just to benefit me, but it's benefiting them to make sure it revolves around their time.
And that's huge, guys. So you definitely want to, the third item here is you definitely want to ask them what their availability is. So if you know that your only day open to see homes is, Sunday morning, and that person happens to have church or other obligations or other priorities, and they're not available Sunday morning, that's probably not going to be a good fit, right?
Church is not a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you just want to understand that if that agent that's working for you is not available at the times that you can view homes, you're either going to have to compromise and look at, video tours or whatever the case is, or find a different agent that's going to fit those needs, because availability is huge. Now, obviously, a year ago when you had 14 seconds to view a home and submit an offer on whatever house just hit the market, it was much more important to basically have somebody that was ready to go right now. Now you have the opportunity to, like I said, kind of take your time, and you may have a chance to have a little bit more of a compromise with that scheduling with that agent. But the third one here, definitely check to see what their availability is and what that expected, response time, method of communication, whatever the case is, because that's huge, right?
Oh, yeah. And when it comes to availability, how can that buyer trust that you aren't going to, say you might be busy this afternoon? How do they know you're not working with 15, 20, 30 other buyers?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. With that availability, kind of a piggyback or a segue is ask them how many people they typically work with on, or how many people they typically carry as active buyers, right? So, that's a great question. And really, it's kind of hard to know. So I typically tell people, text is best. Because if I'm showing a house and, people are wandering through a house and kind of checking it out, I'm not going to feature dump on that house. I'm not going to go, oh, here's the bathroom, here's the bedroom, that whole thing. I'm going to let them kind of take the tour and be with them. But I can text back real quick and say, hey, I'll got your question, I'll get right back to you, or whatever the case is. So for us, we try to only handle a few number, or service, not handle, that's a terrible word to say, but we try to only service a select number of buyers, because we don't want to get in that position where, we're...
We want to be available.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we're putting their priorities, their needs in front, and not put it on the back end.
No overlap.
Exactly. So that's a huge part, and I mean that is definitely one of our top priorities when we go into this, making sure that, not to say that we can't handle that much, as far as buyers, but we really care and truly want to make sure that we are satisfying our customers. We're making sure that our buyers are happy, and we were just going through this, last evening, and the night before. We just want to make sure that what we're doing is representable in that way too.
Yeah, right by the buyer. So we're not going to press you to do anything that you don't want to do or be uncomfortable with the purchase you're going to make. So with not being stressed out with the number of people we're servicing at any given time, we can take the extra time to service those that are right in front of us. So we're not going to work with 25 buyers at a time. It's not possible, even with a team. Typically, our buyer's agents have anywhere between, say, 6 to 10 at a given time, and we're rotating those in and out between showings and contracts and inspections, appraisals, so different phases of the transaction, right? But you really want to dive into how many people are you able to service in any given time, and what is that availability going to look like for me? Because, hey, look, I'm buying the biggest asset of my life, right?
Oh, yeah.
I want to make sure you're there. If you're going to get paid to represent me, I want to make sure that you're there to open a door, answer my question, respond in a timely manner, that whole thing. I don't want to be ghosted,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that makes sense, because if I have 6 buyers that I'm working with and another agent has 1, that buyer might think, oh, well, that agent has plenty more time for me. Why don't I go with them?
Yeah.
Well, that ties into our other points: is the expertise. Are they going to get you the best deal? Are they going to be available? Do they have that team aspect?
Yeah.
Do they have the financing expertise to make sure that they are actually going to get you the best deal possible?
Oh, for sure. For sure. So, going into the fifth item here, the fifth question you want to ask, guys, is what is their expertise in any given program? So say, for example, you're a VA or FHA buyer. You kind of already know in your mind or the method that you're going to buy the house with, right? You already have your down payment. You saved up, scraped by, whatever the case is. You have your down payment. You kind of have an idea of your budget. Does that buyer's agent know, while working with the lender, how to put the deal together? So do they know how to couple first-time home buyer incentives? Do they know how to, word seller concessions? How many deals are they doing with this particular buyer set that would be representative of, your current buying situation? And how have they, gotten those buyers across the finish line?
Mm-hmm. And it's not only from the start, but it's also during the process.
Right.
We got to make sure that if something comes up during the inspection report, during the appraisal report, do they have you covered to where if the appraisal comes up short, are you covered? If there's an inspection report where there's safety hazards, where there are issues, will your agent negotiate those to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible? Are they going to make sure? Are they getting, like we started in the beginning? Do they have the commission breath? Do they just want to get you to the closing table, or are they making sure that this is the right fit for you, to where you're not going to be screwed over, you're not going to be out a bunch of money once you finish closing?
100%.
Pay them off.
Yeah. So that's a key one as well, guys. So understand and question them. What is your expertise when it comes to financing options? And if you don't know, do you have a great team? Can I see your great team of lenders? And how many deals have you closed with these lenders? What is your working relationship with them? So on and so forth. So like I said, that's very, very important in your entire buying journey, is knowing how to get the best deal for you. And that doesn't just come down to finding the right house and getting the best price, because terms has a lot to do with how you buy a home. Oh yeah. So not just price.
Yeah. And that's a good point there too, because not only is it you're interviewing that agent, but you want to make sure those that they are in network with, those lenders,
their team,
you want to make sure that they all have that expertise. You don't want to just have some lender out there that's going to ghost you right after you get under contract, and then
been there, done that.
Comes to closing, and then you don't hear from them, and then delays happen and everything. So it's not just simply the agent, but you want to make sure that agent's network of team that they work with as well is trustworthy and available in every aspect of it.
And that's one of the things that we are very, very particular about, is we don't work with any, John Smith or Joe Blow out there when it comes to putting them on our vendor list. So we have a preferred vendor list of inspectors, lenders, home warranty companies, so on and so forth. And these people have to have a high level of commitment to service and product knowledge expertise. So without that, they don't make our list, period. If we have bad interactions where people feel like they're being done dirty, or, whatever the case may be, that they're not having a good response time, or maybe they're telling them wrong information, I will call them out very, very plainly and say, hey, what's going on? Explain yourself, give me the details. And if it sounds like it's a bad fit for our standard, we'll say thank you, but we're going to have to part ways.
And on that vendors list, we've closed a few deals already, but everyone on that list, those that I didn't get in contact with, you've worked with already. You've worked with multiple deals, multiple transactions, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. So we only work with people that we've personally done business with, and without having that understanding of how those people conduct business, what their kind of value proposition is, it's kind of hard for us to recommend them. So we definitely will vet people out. We'll get at least a transaction under our belt before we recommend them out, or interview them very, very thoroughly. So the financing expertise is huge, but also making sure that you understand the back office support with the team that this real estate agent is bringing to you, so you know that you're getting some great referrals, and you're not going to be kicking the can down the road, or getting a bad deal because of the people that this agent recommended to you.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people go online, they could look up, what do I look for in an agent? How do I know that I'm getting the best fit? I feel these 5 points here are truly top points, key points that you need to make sure that your agent has before you get involved in the transaction. Because if they don't have the availability, if they don't, it's nothing wrong with having a single agent, but if they're too busy doing paperwork and tied up with too many buyers, I mean, that could be a huge downfall. It could affect you. It could affect you getting your deal closed.
100%.
Or affect you getting involved with that transaction from the start.
Sure.
Number of people, neck and neck, it goes, how many people are they working with? If they have 15 buyers, it's huge. And then having that expertise in the market, time of the business, how many transactions they're closing.
Yep.
I mean, you've seen it all. You've been there. So
I don't think I've seen it all, but I've seen a good share. And the good, bad, and the ugly. We've definitely been through it, and we have the expertise to help guide you through it as well. So, any other ones that you think you want to throw in there? I know we hit the top 5. Anything else that maybe
a huge one that I wanted to jump in from the beginning, but having a system going forwards.
What kind of system? What are you talking about?
Well, when you get involved in transaction, do the buyers know what they're getting involved in from the start?
Oh, okay. So like setting the proper expectation up front, like
Exactly.
not just you saying, "Hey, let's do this," and
like okay, let's go to this property. Let's show the home. Okay, well, what's next?
Okay.
Well, before you even get to the showing, you got to talk with the lender. You got to get involved, and you got to be pre-approved or pre-qualified to know where your value is, how much you could actually afford.
Yeah.
Once you get that step done, and I'll tell you, if your agent doesn't get this ahead of time before you start viewing homes, you might want to consider
red flag.
Exactly, it's a huge red flag because you can't even make that offer.
Yeah.
You cannot make an offer without the pre-approval, pre-qualification.
Right.
So that's step 1. Once you get that finished, I mean that's pretty much the first step to get into where you start viewing homes. Start taking your tours. Go figure out the home that take that agent everywhere.
Nice.
Find where you want to live for whether it's the next 3 years, 10 years, the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Find that dream home. Once you find that home, talk to that agent.
Yeah.
Have them negotiate you the best deal possible. And that involves making sure that the down payment assistance, any programs that you can get involved with, anything that could save you money at the closing table.
Gotcha.
And what comes after that?
Inspections.
You got appraisals, you got the WDO. So you got to make sure that, and we could take a deep dive. We could talk here for 20, 30 minutes just about what goes into the systems. But
maybe that should be our next one is the buying process.
Exactly. I think that would
comprehensive buying process 101.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but within that system, you once you get into that contract, once you have that home deal, you got about 30 to 45 days to get yourself situated to where you have your 10 to 15 day inspection period to make sure everything looks good in the home. You got your appraisal report to make sure that the home appraises, that you can actually finance it.
For sure.
And then you got to make sure after all the repairs are said and done, if this is a good home, if this is a good fit, you get to the closing table.
Yeah.
And of course, between that time, having a great agent negotiate you those deals. If something looks wrong, hey, let's get this fixed before. I don't want to spend the extra money here or there.
For sure.
So there's a lot of steps going into it, but making sure that you know what you get involved with from the start to the finish, all the way up to that closing table.
Nice. So I'm actually being reminded here by my buyer's agent who does the system all the time that we do have a system in place for everything. So you're going to want to ask if there is a system and what the expectations are for each step of the process, right? So we, as our practice, we actually have people come in for a buyer consultation, and within that, we will actually set up the timeline for you of here's how the process works from start to finish. We get you a pre-approval. We get a, financial picture for you, and then we go from there and start viewing homes, and you'll know exactly where you are in the process because of the updates, because of the clear expectations that we set up front, and you're not going to have to worry about those things falling off by the wayside because of that system. You're going to be getting updates from the admin staff. You're going to be getting updates from Bo throughout the transaction, just touch points. Hey, how you feeling? How you doing? Do you have questions? How can we help? So that's huge, Bo. Thank you for reminding me of that one.
Oh yeah, it's huge because buyers get very stressed during this process, and you want to make sure that your agent and that agent's team is there supporting you to make sure that if some stressful point comes up, that it's going to be resolved in a manner that benefits you directly. So.
And definitely in a timely manner. That's awesome. Well, I think that that wraps it up. So again, I guess we'll do the 6 characteristics to look for. Number 1 is experience by far, just to see what they're going to do for you and what kind of experience they have for you in the marketplace. Your availability of that agent. So is that availability going to match up with your schedule? Is that agent on a team? And does that team provide, the resources for you as the buyer to have a better buying experience? Of course, within that is the number of deals that agent does, and that's going to kind of tie back into the availability and, the proper expectation for follow-up and communication. Obviously, the fifth one there was the financing expertise and knowing the programs to help you get into the home. So kind of quiz them on, the loan types and what type of lenders they have, and that, again, that back office support that we mentioned. Mm-hmm. And number 6, as Bo so eloquently reminded me of, their systems. What is their process? Do they have a process? Can they articulate that process or illustrate that process quickly and on the fly? Mm-hmm. So that obviously is going to show a next level of preparation and keeping you up to date with the entire transaction. So, yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. Any other?
I think we
hit all the high points. Okay.
Pretty much. And I think next time, like you mentioned, we're going to go take a deeper dive into the actual
all the different steps in the buying process. So stand by, stay tuned for more. Well, guys, it's been a great pleasure chatting with you. Hopefully this was some insightful information as to, what to look for when you are hiring your next agent if you're out there on the hunt. As always, we here at the Collins Group are willing to help you with any of your real estate needs over in the Gulf Coast area of Florida. So anywhere from Perdido to Panama City we cover. And we have this team, we have the systems, we have the process down. Bo is always willing to help people. I mean, we've closed Panama City condos, we've closed, single family mobile homes, we've closed pretty much the whole gamut, including commercial. So we're definitely here to help. We have that expertise and those systems in place to make it work. So I hope everybody has a great and enjoyable Thanksgiving, and we'll be tuning in same time next week. Y'all take care.